So hello everyone, this is OK here, and we're looking forward to doing a quick puzzle stream in Crazyhouse. Also, if anyone is watching this 28th of February 2020, it's also the day when Yasser Seirawan is going to be playing on pychess.org against Jan Lee and introducing Jan Lee to his Seirawan chess, S-chess, playing on the site for the first time properly. But what we're going to do today, and that will be in 3 hours from now. But we're just going to do a very, very quick puzzle stream just to stay in Crazyhouse shape. This is a move that occurs to me immediately here because it covers the escape of the king running back. So it's a cover escape rather than a block escape because it's covering stuff behind the king. So if I just open up my list of Crazyhouse themes, so some are middle game themes, some are mating themes, defense, attacking, and coordination of pieces. And just to explain what cover escape is, it's a mating pattern in which a check covers other squares not in the line segment of check in the king's escape path. So I like this idea because it covers this square, and it forces the king to run forwards. And maybe knight here, but then king here, and so then you have to cover this path here. Not seeing the finish. So here. You could also do this, but then I'm worried the king starts running him back. So here looks promising, but then here, and then it's not so clear. Queen takes pawn. Because the other idea was going here, but then the king is running back. Okay, then the other idea completely, which is also bound to mate, surely, is queen takes queen, king takes queen. But I don't know. Knight here takes and bring a rook in. He can just block. So that won't be so forcing. So queen here. I don't know if I'll have enough. If I go knight here, he just tries to run. Queen here, he runs back. Pawn here. Oh, I have got 2 pawns. Okay, I think just taking the queen is going to be the answer, and I'm wrong. So it was this one. Okay, so the reason I didn't consider this is I thought he had quite a lot of squares to run to. So hi there, I am HyperGod. I've just started, and it's going to be a very quick stream, so you've come just in time. So blocks, checks, and checks. Okay. So this is the initial position. I was going for queen takes queen. So let's look at it on Lichess, just to try and understand the position better. So queen takes queen is a mate in 9 apparently. So what's the best? I mean, if we did something like knight at c4 again, that's not so fast. He can go back to e2, and so then queen at e3. And I thought we had 2 pawns and that would be enough, but apparently it's not enough. So pawn here. Oh, the pawn there is covered. So I was just thinking pawn here, king here, pawn here. That was my calculation, in fact. So that's not so smart. So pawn f4. And again, so what happens if he just runs back just to check? Yeah, then it's easy because then we have a knight in hand. So whichever way the king runs, we can get a knight checkmate. Or if he goes the other way, that's checkmate. But so keeping the knight in hand is useful. So suppose he runs forwards. Queen at f2. Okay, this is interesting. So it's using the idea of stopping the king from running back. So although he might block, say, with the bishop, because the bishop defends lots of squares, or maybe a knight, because a knight stops queen takes pawn here. So defend with the knight. Knight at e6. Okay, so that's stopping the king running forwards now. So this is very good. We stop the king running back, and we stop the king running forwards. So now there are only 2 squares for the king, and we can imagine maybe a pawn will control those squares. So king to e4. So I am HyperGod says, can we play some Crazyhouse? Well, this is I'm doing a puzzle stream, so it's actually I have a stream set up. I want to introduce. I'm doing some puzzles on chessvariants.training and analysing them, so it's not really, and I don't have much. I'm not here for very long, unfortunately. So I was thinking pawn here, but maybe the king is then running away, so it doesn't work. So queen e2 check, again, just trying to stop the king running block. And then f5 there. Okay, now can we see a mate here? Yes, just come in here, again, block. So this is really all about blocking off the escape, and then this is checkmate. Okay, so it would be mating if you took the queen, but there's a faster way. Either knight d6, knight f6, or queen f5. So queen f5. So just to show the knight d6, knight d6. The point being, if you take it, then queen f5 is mate in 1. So that's a nice practical choice. And if he just runs, then also this is quite good, because c6 is stopping the king running here. King c5, knight a6. This pawn is covering both these squares. So it stops the king running back. So that's interesting. So I quite like the idea of knight d6 instead. So what's best defense against knight d6 for white is king to d3. Yeah, but then it looks like we have to take that queen, and we do. Yes, takes. So I'll just play the mate. Knight at c4. So we're controlling the center of the board, as it were. So if he tries to run this way, for example, queen here, knight here is checkmate. So he then has to run forwards. And we got him in a bit of a box. f5 and at g5 will mate. Okay, so knight d6 is very interesting, but okay, queen c4, king d5, and this is the mate we saw in king c5. Say king c5. Still, we take this pawn, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, we can still block though and give ourselves a room, but it's still this construction, the knight and the pawn. And everything's fine. b5 is checkmate. So it's all about blocking the escapes of the king. Interesting. So I'm going to try that puzzle again with the alternative solution. See, just to check that the puzzle is correct. Knight d6. Ooh. So there's actually a problem with this puzzle, because it doesn't recognize knight d6 is also mating in the same number of moves. Knight f6. Nope. It only accepts this mate, which is not correct. That's sad. So this one, I think we want to pawn here. If he ran forwards, he has no future. He could run back. How are we going to mate him if he runs back? Oh, queen here. Yeah. Queen here, checkmate. Okay, so just to quickly double check, in the initial position, there are indeed. So this is a mate in 6, just to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in the initial position, knight d6 is also a mate in 6. So that's a shame, because it means the puzzle is not really. I have to report the puzzle. So knight d6 also mates in 6 on move 1. So that's a shame, because it means it's not a valid puzzle and will have to be removed from the site. So just to explain where I'm doing these puzzles, it's chessvariants.training. And as I said at the beginning of the stream, if you want to play 960 Crazyhouse, the two sites are chessvariants.training and also this site here, PyChess. If you want the lovely dark layout, you have to press this button here. Can you see? You can't quite see it, but you can see my mouse here, and you just put it up a bit, and there's a button for darkness and light. And so these are the players on the site. You can see Crazyhouse 960 has been the most active, with some of the big names joining in and having ridiculously low ratings because they've only played a few games. So it's a very new site. So we're looking forward in 2.5 hours to Yasser Seran taking on Jan Li in S chess on this site, introducing S-chess. Introducing viewers to the Sarowan's own variant. Okay, but what I would like to do here, because I don't have too much time, is just do a very quick puzzle stream. And yeah, so this is the next puzzle, I think. That was the one we did last time. Yep. Okay, so this is the next one. So we have loads of rooks, which is nice. I mean, I really wanted to put a rook here and then go queen here, checkmate, but this is double covered. So I'm struggling to see checks, which is what I'd rook here, rook here. Interesting. So we're white here, and we just have rooks and a pawn. Well, pawns don't feel useful, and he has knights to block, so we could... I mean, if he moves the king, rook here is checkmate, so he has to block with a knight. So we could win a knight. Oh, a knight might be useful. So I'm thinking of capturing some knight, and maybe the knight might be a mating piece. So for example, knight here, check. Still I'm not seeing it. Maybe rook check first. Blocks. Ah, a sort of back rank idea. Yes. So that's what I'm thinking here. There's a kind of... So this is the real back rank, but maybe there's a false back rank because he can't... And this is now the real back rank. And so we can do... yeah, it doesn't... Yeah, that does work, yes. Okay, so here's the idea. We go queen here, check, he blocks with a knight, we take the knight. If he takes here, that creates a back rank, so you go rook here, check, blocks. Knight here, check, here, rook takes knight, here, and knight here, checkmate. If he takes... rook takes knight, say knight takes, then this square is open for a knight, and then a rook, and queen here, checkmate. So maybe it's not the fastest, but okay, so what is the way? Oh, we can capture a knight straight away. Okay, I missed that. Capture a knight straight away and do exactly the same things that I was saying. Rook here. Oh, it's just mate in 2. Mate in 3. Okay. Okay, that was just bad calculation. So the point is, so what's the theme of this puzzle? It's to capturing the knight with check. So the theme of the puzzle is capture with check. And just to explain what that means, I'll show you in the list of definitions. Capturing a piece other than the queen with check, often to be used later in a mating sequence. That was really the key of this puzzle. We can't really mate with rooks, but we can capture the piece we need, the knight, with check. So that's what... okay, so let's quickly get on to the next one. I'm planning on doing a dozen puzzles in this stream, so just a very short stream. Now, the thing about this one is the king only has one escape square, so we have to figure out how do I cover this square. So I could cover it with a knight, for example, and then this knight covers this, and the knight covers this. So a knight here and a pawn here feels like a good construction. And this rook also feels good because it's stopping the king running back. So I quite like the idea of queen takes pawn. Okay, I was thinking queen takes pawn, pawn takes, pawn here, king here, knight here, checkmate. So that's a nice idea, but the problem after queen takes pawn, pawn takes, pawn here is you can actually go this way. And then, no, knight here is covered by the bishop. Queen takes pawn, pawn takes... I mean, I can't go rook takes pawn because that's double covered. So, so I really want the pawn knight. That's the construction. I can't mate with the knight on its own, can I? Or can I? I really want a pawn. How else could I get a pawn? Okay, I've got an interesting idea. There's also knight here, because if you take it, queen here is checkmate. So knight here is a rather interesting one. Knight here, king here. Knight here. Yeah, but then we've lost control of these squares, so the king runs to those two squares. It's not awful, it's just we don't have very much in hand. So going again, queen takes pawn, pawn takes, pawn here, king here. Is there a mate in that situation? Seems frustratingly close. Okay, is there any other way of winning a pawn with check? Not that I see. Knight here, king here. Knight here, king here. I want to control this square, although it's going to take a lot longer if I'm not still controlling the square. Maybe new knight here, but then king here, and then that's all over. And then queen takes pawn. Pawn takes. Rook takes pawn check. Bishop takes, and now we have two pawns, and two pawns are enough to mate. Pawn here and pawn here. So I think that's correct. Okay, I'm just going to go for it. Such is life. So what is the fast one? So it's right. It is a new knight attacked by that pawn, but not where I thought it was. Then take the pawn, which is my construction. Pawn there, check. Oh, neat, neat. Neat. Because I had a much... I'll show you what I was thinking, and I'll show you what... Yeah, I'll show that on the Lee Chess Analysis board now. So, I was thinking knight at e4, and as you see it's mate in 6 instead of mate in 3. King c6, because obviously if you take this knight, it's going to be mate in 1. So king c6. Queen takes d5, just because we want a pawn. Takes here. Then my idea is just take another pawn, and we now have the two pawns we need for mate. But it's a bit long-winded. So really neat move here, knight here, because it cuts off the king going to this square. So these two knights are actually cutting off. It's like a wall the king cannot pass. So after, again, you can't take it because of this. So this is very nice. I like this puzzle a lot. This deserves a star of some kind. You sack the queen, and yeah, that's very beautiful. So it ends up with this diagonal knight mate. There should be some way of starring really nice puzzles. So there's a clearance idea. Firstly, if you take the knight, there's a clearance idea, and I'll explain what the formal definitions of all these terms in a second. So there's a clearance idea. There's a queen mate idea, but that's okay. There's a queen sack. Clearance idea, queen sack, because we just want to capture a piece with check, the pawn. And finally, there's a diagonal knight mate. So I feel those are all important themes. That's a really nice puzzle. I don't have a way of starring puzzles which are especially nice. Maybe that should exist. If I go nice puzzle as a comment, is there a way of seeing my own comments? Probably not. Right, notifications. I received a comment on my puzzle. My own history. So I can't see the puzzles I've commented, as it were. No, okay, so that would be something. Of course, I could bookmark it, but then that'll be complicated. What I could do is I could open up a little scrapbook. So why is this such a nice puzzle? It's a mate in only like 3. It's a mate in only 3, and there's a queen sack. Anything with a queen sack is cool. And I just feel it combines a lot of really nice ideas. What is the key? I guess it's the clearance idea and also the capturing piece with check idea. Well, yeah, yeah, not sure. So maybe I'm gonna start making a collection of really nice puzzles um, to be used in instructional studies in the future. But okay, that was a good one. Let's go on. I was hoping to do 12 puzzles, so just a quick 12 puzzle stream. But I think we're on the third one or fourth one. So we have 2 pawns, a knight and a rook. And the king is looking rather in the center of the board. So the bishop is controlling a lot of squares. In fact, those are the only 3 squares the king can go to, and so this feels like a sort of a king hunt. We need to control those 3 squares. How would we best do that? So a pawn would control this square. A pawn could control that square. A pawn could control that square. So the troublesome square might conceivably be this, but then another pawn. Okay, so we can't. So a pawn could control this square. I don't want to push this pawn because otherwise the king could run forward. So it'd be like a new pawn controlling this square. Okay, and a pawn would control. Maybe it's all pawns. So basically, if we can just give this king a nudge, we don't have that many pawns. That's the problem. we don't have. We would need to firstly give the king a nudge. If it comes forward, then pawn here is checkmate. So it has to go back. But we've only got one more pawn in hand. Ah, but we could use a knight instead of a pawn for this one. We could use a knight. So if he comes forward, pawn here is checkmate. If he comes forward, he could then go forward again though. Oh, that's a problem. So I need to be concerned about this path that the king might take. So that's why I probably do need the rook. Guess I'm being okay. So here's how you do it. No, actually, I'm not sure. So I was thinking put a rook first here. How do I do a rook first here to stop that run, but then he's still got the run which goes like this way, and then takes the rook. So, and I don't have a bishop. I could have a pawn takes the rook. This square is double covered, so we can't use that square at all. Rook here, it feels like an interesting idea, but just king here, and then I'm not sure how we're continuing. Rook here, check, king there, pawn there, check, king takes rook, pawn there, check, king here, and knight here, and then he comes back here again. Okay, so again, we have to cover these squares. Is there a knight check that covers 2 of those squares? Maybe just use a knight. Okay, maybe not worry about things. So, we could use a pawn to just give the king a nudge. If he comes forward, then just use another pawn, and we'll cover this square, and it would be checkmate. Because all of those 3 squares would be covered. So the king is going to have to run to here or here. And my idea is maybe use another pawn here if he runs to here, and use a knight check here if he runs to here. And ultimately he's going to have to go to this square here. And then that's when I'm not sure. So pawn, king. So king goes back directly. Knight here, check. Is knight here check better? Knight here check, king here. We can always add another pawn, but then he drops back. So that's why pawn here is appealing, because then we could maybe take a knight with check. Having said that, the king might then end up running. And he can avoid that by simply running straight back without ever going to this square, so he never gets checked. This is troublesome. Rook here check just blocks. What about pawn here check using an existing pawn? That's actually quite interesting, because if he takes, we can then get a rook on the board. So it feels quite powerful. Knight here, rook takes pawn check. I'm going to do this one. Oh, okay. Knight check first. I'm trying to work out what is the construction. A pawn and a rook. Oh, the knight supports the rook along this file. That's the construction. Pawn there, and a rook here. Okay, so I completely messed that up. It's quite hard actually, because yeah, so g4 is only mate in 5 because of king takes g4, rook at g3. This is what I was pondering. At e4, king f6, knight h5, king f7, and I was being completely stupid. I was thinking this, but it's defended. So it's actually pawn at g6, checkmate. And actually, so what's the faster mate in 4 is this. So the point is, if he ever runs here, we just cover off the escape with the rook. I mean, that's so obvious when you see it. It's so obvious. How are we going to cover off this escape? We cover it off with a rook. So king g6, h5, then he goes f7, so rook f5, you can block it. So you go g6 first, and then rook f5. Okay, so I'm just going to close those down. Yeah, I said on the last one I would say something about the terms clearance. So this one with the solution was knight at c4. Sack the queen and a dn mate. So just dn just means a mating pattern involving a diagonal and knight, or at least one of each. So here, this is a very actual classic mating pattern with 2 knights and a pawn. There's also a clearance idea, because if he takes this knight, the queen comes in with checkmate. So just this definition of clearance: forcing a piece away from a square, diagonal, rank, or file, often using a sacrifice to make way for an attack, making use of the cleared square or path. So you clear away this pawn, and then the queen comes in with delivering mate. So I just wanted to explain that quickly. Going back to the puzzle I was doing just now, yeah, it was really important to cover the escape of the king. That was the really key thing, to covering the escape aspect. Yeah, so it's a king hunt and cover escape. So knight here, pawn here. Ah, that doesn't work. No, of course, because we want that square for the rook. I'm being silly. So cover escape is the real theme of that puzzle, and it's a king hunt. Although a lot of things are king hunts in a way. But the king is right in the centre of the board. We just need to find a way of creating that mating net with limited material. Okay. So this time we have all the material we want in the world, and my first reaction is queen here, block, pawn here. Maybe. Queen here, check. Knight block. Pawn here, check. If he takes, we just got everything we want to win, and if he doesn't take, we've got a back rank thing. Is there a faster way? Just take it. Yeah. So knight here, if the king runs forwards, queen here. So it's just a case of what's the fastest way now. Knight here, maybe. Maybe he's going to run this way. So knight here is quite good because it controls that square. So knight here, if he runs back, just queen and rook will be mate. Queen and rook will be mate. So I think knight here is good. How is that not right? Oh. Okay, so obviously if he runs back, this is very simple. Queen and rook mate or queen and bishop mate. So the reason why this is nifty is if I put the knight here, why is that an issue? Because maybe that was a square for the queen. Oh my goodness. If the king runs forward, queen here is checkmate. So that is really beautiful. I'll just show it on Lichess. That's a very beautiful little pattern. So firstly, it's a back rank issue here. If here, then just rook here, we're winning the queen. We just put another queen on, it's all over. So okay, takes. Now, if I go here, the problem is he can run forwards, is it? No, so forwards is not an issue because of rook f7. King can't even take the knight, and queen f4. So what was the issue? The issue was king to e7. Oh, running this way. Rook f7, king d6, bishop e7, king c6, and queen c5. Yeah, so that's a nice sort of pattern. So what's the difference if we go knight at d8 and he tries to do the same kind of pattern? Rook at f7, king to d6. Oh, the knight is actually cutting off this square. So queen at e7 is just mate straight away. And also what I wanted to emphasize was if he runs forwards, isn't it leaving this square for the... apparently not. So I was thinking queen here, but then which is quite a nice check because it does cover a lot of squares, but the king can just run back this way. So it isn't quite so good at all. So the best thing to do apparently is queen f7, drive the king further forward, and bishop f4. Okay. So definitely it was worthwhile going over, or I think maybe more. Queen f4. Yes, I think that's definitely worth having a look at in more detail, because this turned out not to be as fast as this, which controls. So you can just have a rook here and a queen here, and that will mate, because this square is cut off. So covering the escape, a really important theme. Covering escape, back rank, covering escape. Back rank, covering, well, capturing a queen. So there's a back rank theme. There's capture queen with check, obviously. And the most important one, I think, is cover escape. The way a knight on here actually covers escape even better than the knight here. They both cover this key square, but this knight also covers this square. Okay, that's a hard one. hard one to see exactly. Okay, so we're in check. So in this sort of puzzle, you want to find the square to go to where you get least checked, because if you're going to mate your opponent, so it's going to be this for sure. And now we need to mate with the 2 pawns, a knight, 2 rooks, 2 queens. I mean, not sure if I've got enough material here. Rook here, king takes, knight here. Okay, I don't consider this puzzle very interesting, so I'm just going to... Actually, okay, I should take it more seriously. Knight here, check. If he goes here, queen here is checkmate. If he goes, takes the knight, rook here is interesting, queen here is interesting, rook here is more interesting. Okay, as I said, I'm not, okay, whatever. Takes, what? So, deflects the bishop, plays a kind of quiet move, threatening mate, because black has nothing. Okay, this is just silly. This is the most ridiculous puzzle. I'm going to have a look at it on the chess analysis board. I don't believe this this has much merit. Bishop at f5, knight at e7 is mate in 6, but h7 is mate in 5. Ridiculous. So h7, bishop takes, and queen at d8. Wow. I mean, this is just a ridiculous puzzle. I mean, sure, queen at d8 is powerful, because the threat is like rook at h8 and double checkmate, for example, if you do nothing. I quite like that way of doing things. And of course, if you come out, then we have another queen to put here as checkmate. So apparently knight at e7 is not mating in 5. Knight at e7, king f7. There's nothing. Queen at g8, king f6, queen takes g7. What is going on? It all just takes a bit longer apparently. Well, okay, this is ridiculous. So king h3 for sure. Okay, it's just one of those. It's one of those puzzles. Pretty hard one. The threat is greater than the execution somehow, but that's, yeah. It's a mate threat theme, I guess. But no, I can't imagine anyone getting that puzzle right, and it's rated 1901 on the site. Unless you've seen it before, you're not going to get that right. Okay, 3 bishops and a queen. Okay, so queen here would be check, except it gets taken. So bishops and queen. Okay, queen here is also very tempting, and bishop here. But unfortunately, that square is also covered. So it's like everything seems to be covered. What do I do? Maybe bishop here to deflect the knight, and then queen here. But then it doesn't quite work. Maybe just bishop here. Okay, so bishop here. Because the thing about dropping a bishop here is if you don't take it, we're landing our queen on the board, and then it looks very risky. Queen here, check. No, knight's covering. Bishop here. If you didn't take it, this should be straightforward. I'm not saying it's not saying that. We've only got bishops though. Queen here, king here. Huh. How do I use my knight? So my issue is, if he takes here, then actually I've got knight takes pawn check, and I have lots of interesting ideas. What's slightly bothering me is, what if he just ignores my bishop and goes here? Hum-de-hum. Queen there, king there. Oh, another bishop here. Yeah, that does it. Knight takes, queen takes. Yep, that will do it. So bishop here. Okay, it seems this is just not my day today. So again, it wants to do a very quiet move, threatening mates with bishop here, check. I mean, it's not even mating one though. So it's bishop here, check, pawn here, check, and then rook to, well, if you didn't have the rook, it would still be checkmate with the pawn. So bishop here, for example, would be checkmate. Okay, I'm going to have to look at that on analysis board. So what was wrong with bishop at g2? It's a mate in 11 apparently. I was thinking about calculating going here, but of course the knight covers the square, so that's quite careless. Going here is no good at all, because queen h3, king f4. We want another check. Bishop here, I was thinking, bishop at g3, bishop at g3. If king to g5, queen takes h4 is mate, so you have to take it, but then this is checkmate. Okay, so king to g, this we have to take, but now we have knight takes pawn, and this feels like we should have mate quite quickly. So king to f2, queen at g2. If king to e1 at f2 is mate straight away, but king e3 apparently is annoying because then he survives a little bit longer. Knight h to f5, king to d3. Apparently bishop at b4 is the best move. Just a quiet move, threatening mate next move. So this is all about quiet moves, not mating immediately apparently, this, because our king is safe. And so yeah, the strongest move is this. If he does nothing, bishop at g2 and queen takes pawn is the threat. Okay, so another fairly ridiculous puzzle. We've not been lucky. Okay, well let's do, I think it's about 3 more to go. 3 more, 4 more, something like that. A pawn, 2 knights, and a queen. So we could go queen there just for fun. It's quite nice, because then we can go knight here, check. Knight takes bishop, and knight there, checkmate. That just feels correct. So I guess that's a magnet mate. You're drawing the king to a square where it can be checked, and then you're mating it with 2 knights. It's quite a nice example of a magnet mate. Maybe even I can take a note of that one. Okay, let's look at the next one. We're white, we're in check, which is concerning because maybe knight takes rook is the thing to do, just because to avoid checks. But there's always going to be checks because if bishop here check takes. So it's not clear. Pawn takes rook, but there's a lot of checks is the problem in this position. Let's just back off with the king. Are there still checks? Yeah, there are. In the meantime, we're threatening, I'm sure, some mates, but getting rid of this rook seems like definitely something profitable to do. So if you go knight takes rook, we're threatening queen here, checkmate. So knight takes rook feels like a right thing to do. Excellent, excellent. So at least we got the first move right. And now it's just a case of finding the mate. So he's got some coverage on the dark squares, so maybe can we get in on the light squares? So like a pawn, king takes knight, like a rook. So if he takes it, queen here's checkmate, so he has to take with the bishop, but then we've got queen here, checkmate. So getting in on the light squares is my idea. Yeah, that doesn't work because it's just queen here, queen here. Okay, I'll just show you on analysis board some of the other lines. So knight takes g3 is indeed a mate in 5. The defense black page was this. At g6. There are a lot of mates here, so I'm worried that not knight at f8, for example, is even mate. Rook takes knight, then at g6 takes. Yeah, and then the key idea is this queen h5. The knight supports the bishop, so there's a diagonal knight queen coordination going on, which is quite important. So in the mate I was thinking of, it was this takes this way, and queen here is checkmate. So that was the one I wanted to show. Diagonal knight queen. So I'm just going to retry this puzzle. Retry the puzzle to see if. So hi there, Hercules. Indeed, the massive mouse. That's funny. I'm just going to see if this puzzle is genuine, because I could do this. Okay, that's good. So the puzzle creators have recognized that there are alternatives. So diagonal knight queen is the mating pattern. Okay, so I'm going to do 2, maybe 3 more puzzles, and then call an end. It's just been a very short stream. But yeah, welcome Marlon. Good to have you with us. The OKZH mouse, who's the leader of the club. Yeah. Is this really just this easy? Is this really just this easy? So it's a DQ mate. Yeah, okay, that was ridiculous. So the theme is DQ, and I'm sort of introducing people to the themes. So so on the puzzle website you can then train by theme. If you click on DQ, you can see all the puzzles with a mating pattern involving diagonal and queen, at least one of each, and you can train all the puzzles. Yeah, I'm tagging them as I go along. I'm introducing the tags, creating the tags, as it were. I think my plan is, I haven't been doing it for many weeks, but my new thing is, let's do 10 puzzles a day, something like this. That would be my goal. But I don't know if I'll keep it up. So bishop takes rook looks interesting. Pawn here, rook here is the construction. So bishop takes rook, if you take it, pawn here check, king here, and rook here checkmate. Bishop takes rook, if you don't take it and run up, then what? Then rook here check, maybe? Blocks, and queen here checkmate. So it feels like it's mate whatever you do. So I don't know, there's not really much to this puzzle. It's just a back rank thing, I guess. So back rank theme. Okay, I should actually look in the analysis board. There might have also been an interesting variation running up. No, it was mate in 1 if you ran up. I completely missed that. Okay, so it wasn't interesting at all. So it's just a back rank issue. So Hercules says, I thought they were all done by a bot. No, we're the ones doing the tagging. In fact, you're including you. You're one of the people with special powers to be able to tag stuff. And Hercules says it's unfortunate that one cannot search by author. That will definitely happen in the future. And Gingerbread Man Crazyhouse says every little helps. Pepe's puzzles tend to be easy, says Hercules. Earth and Twigs are fucking impossible. I have a lot of mate in 1 puzzle. I put like about 50 mate in 1 puzzles on this site at some point, because I was doing the highlights from season 5 of the Crazyhouse League, and I put over 100 puzzles from that season, and the first 50 or so were all mate in 1s. I mean, not completely trivial, but they were all mate in 1s, so lots of easy ones there. But then the last few were you know, that I had some mate in 16s and 17s as well. So I've got to make just with pawns. Yes, the causes 3 bot puzzles are all auto-generated, but the tags have to be added by hand. Oh, I've seen something. It's a clearance. He has to take it. And if he doesn't take it... What? Oh, I'm just being... That's annoying. So it wasn't so straightforward. It's queen takes knight, king takes... Bishop here check, king takes knight... Huh, it keeps running. Queen takes knight, king takes knight here check, but then he runs this way. That's I don't yeah. No, that might still be fine. I'm finding difficulty calculating. Queen takes knight, king takes... So yeah, Marlonk says, I not only tag, but I write puzzles too. For example, 13661. Cool. Yeah, I don't. I usually just use puzzles from games, right? I haven't created too many of. Okay, I'm stuck on this one. Queen takes knight. So yeah, I saw this knight. Yeah, the problem. Queen takes knight, king takes knight here check. So obviously, if he goes back, we're mating with pawns. So he goes here. If we can do knight f2, that's fine. But how? Oh, queen here check. Queen here check, leaving the space. No, but then he blocks. Queen takes, and then here. Okay, this is not working. So the problem is how to check the king on g3. Obviously, if we can get it to h3, but he's also got this square. Oh, of course. So we want to check here. Okay, I got it now. Okay. So it's knight here check. Of course. It's the famous construction with knights 3 apart, controlling all these squares. Okay. So queen takes knight. So it's just the dance of the knights. Watch the dance of the knights. Knight here check. Knight here check. And the point of that is to cover this square. So if he goes here, then you have the 2 knights. He came forward though. So the dance of the knights didn't happen, but now it's just surely a simple mate. How again? Because he's going to come forward again. And bishop here will be mate. So pawn here, bishop here, I think, is doing it. Oh no, he's got king takes pawn. Eek. Pawn here, king takes pawn, and then he can run back. Okay, this is... so we have to stop this. How do we stop this? Bishop at e3. Knight takes. Okay, I'm going to think a second on my own and then check the chat. The issue is king takes pawn and then runs back. Okay, so if king takes pawn, maybe knight here is a sweet move, covering all of these squares. No, but then he can run forward to here. And it just feels a bit more effort. And bishop here will be checkmate then. Or queen, yeah, queen here will be checkmate. Okay, so what was that again? It's pawn here, if king takes, bishop there is checkmate. If king takes here, knight here, check. No, yes, because he can't go back here, and then king here, and then... Okay, so I don't know if this is the shortest, but it works. Oh, what? He just went this way. Okay, so I definitely missed something. So let's have a look again. This is a nice clearance idea, so that's the first idea, it's quite nice. But he can defend. Simply takes, and in fact that just everything mates apparently. Like even knight at h3 mates. G takes h3, queen f3. And that's really sweet actually. Knight h3, the idea being if he takes here, bishop at d4, driving the king forward, here, and this is checkmate. Okay, so I'm going to test afterwards to see if it recognizes that mate. That's a good one. But the one we were looking at was knight at g4, king to g3, knight to f5, and a very nice mate we've discussed if he goes there. So these two knights cover this thing. So okay, so it's after this move. Okay, so Marlon in chat suggesting bishop at e5 also is interesting. If king takes e4, knight d6 is checkmate. I just didn't see that at all. I was thinking much more long-winded stuff, but yeah, knight d6, just coordinating. The bishop cuts off this, the knight cuts off this, the queen cuts off this. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, so if you find, this is quite important, if you find that there is a shortest mate that the bot is missing, then, as I showed earlier in the stream, because I found one of those, you should click on the report puzzle and say reason, too many options, just explain the reason. And even though the puzzle's nice, it'll be removed from the site because that's just no good. Having having puzzles that are not correct. I'm going to test out if it recognises knight h3. It does. It does. And what's the finish here again? Block and pawn here for mate. Yes. Okay, so I'm impressed. It did recognise it, and so just try the puzzle again from the beginning, just so first it's a clearance idea, then a queen sack, and then yeah, I guess it's some kind of yeah. Clearance idea, queen sack, and then coordinating your DNs, your diagonals, and your knights. So I'll just put in those tags: queen sack and DN. Oh, I'm confused what the difference is between missing answer and too many options. Can I go over the queen e1 check line? Yes. Sorry about that, I got distracted. So takes. Oh, now that is... Initially this Stockfish wanted to do queen takes f2 initially, which is concerning. But yeah, fortunately this is faster. Queen takes f2, king takes f2. Okay, sorry, so you want to go queen e1 initially. So queen e1 initially, is it? Queen e1. The problem is this is defended. No, so you don't want queen e1 initially. If queen e1 check, bishop at h6. So knight g4 check, king here, knight f5 check. No, you want queen e1 and some other, maybe queen e, is it queen e1 here? No, knight g5 check. And after knight at g4. Oh, yeah, okay. So knight at g4 and then queen e1. Okay. Oh, yeah. So the problem, yes, I remember, yeah. So if he just does this immediately, then of course, oh. He's still running to here, unfortunately. So knight f2, king h4. So the reason why I thought queen e1 wasn't good was some kind of block, but blocks are no good because blocks are only rooks or queens, and then we do have a very simple mate. Okay, so he can just go here directly. Knight c2, king h4. Knight f5. Okay, so now we have this construction where the knights are cutting off all those squares, so he has to go to g5, bishop at h6, king f6. Oh, yeah, knight g4. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so you saw that. Then yeah, that's a nice one. You gets the mate in the end. So queen g1. If he blocks, we get a rook for mate. If he doesn't block, we push the king forward using the dance of the knights, and important final move, knight g4. Otherwise, we're going to have to keep on going with more diagonals. Okay, nice one. Okay, so let's just finish the stream with Marlonk's puzzle. Hercules. So black to play with a pawn and a queen. My immediate thought with this one is just take this pawn because I want I need two diagonals to mate. That's just my hunch. Because if he goes here, I've got queen here, check. If he ever goes here, knight there is checkmate. So and if he goes here, I would go pawn here, check, king here, and then knight here, checkmate. So I like the idea of this, and if he goes here, then again I think knight here, check. If he goes here, just a queen check. If he goes here, drop a pawn, and then queen here, mate. So after knight takes pawn, I think he has to take it. And then we do the cookie crumb, we just get him out. We've got a couple of pawns to draw him out. So pawn here, he has to take it or he gets mated on the back rank. So knight takes pawn, bishop takes, pawn here, check, king takes. And now we have another pawn, so we drop another pawn on. If he goes back, it's generally checkmate, so he has to go forwards. Because if you drop the queen on immediately, he just drops back. So that's why I want to drop a pawn. Just drop a pawn, he has to come forwards. Bishop here. Check, he has to come forwards. I mean, there's a slow mate, queen here, check, queen here, mate. But, okay, so something faster. Okay, I'm going to start with this. Oh my goodness. Is a bishop better? Yeah, the bishop's better, because at that point there, when we were putting that pawn on, the bishop defends backwards. Okay. I was just worried the bishop would create too much air around the king. So I guess I was worried in this position here, after knight takes bishop, what if like pawn takes? And if pawn here check, just step up. And but then queen here, I guess. Queen here and then queen there, checkmate. So it still works. Okay, so takes. Oh, I didn't mean to. Takes. So pawn and bishop. So again, I'm tempted to just go pawn here, check, takes, and then bishop. So just pawn at g2 should be good enough, right? But maybe he goes king g1. So that's the problem with taking the bishop. You've given him some luft. So not completely clear. So pawn there, check, takes. Okay, this is how to do it. Queen here, check. If he steps back, bishop here, and then takes, and then takes. So I'd say I'll do it that way. Pawn there, check. It doesn't work. Huh. So I have to do it this way. just draw him out. The point being I now come in and put another pawn to mate. So just to have a quick look, yeah, there's something tricky about that one, which was, so the mate I was looking at initially was this. The point is, if you did this, knight h3, this is the mating construction I was going for, this sort of thing. If you do this directly, you just go queen f3 and so on. That sort of thing. So you do have to take this, and now we've got 2 pawns in hand, which is great. Pawn at g2, king takes, and then I was thinking, yeah, pawn at f3, pawn at h3. Apparently pawn at f3 is better. Yeah, because I guess pawn at h3 he can start running over to the queen side, which is not a good idea. Here, this is in fact queen g4. You block him off, and then you mate him. So that's a mate in 6. Oh, it is a mate in 6. So there's a flaw in your puzzle, Hercules. You're going to have to ban it. Because this is a mate in 6. Knight f2, bishop takes f2. Yeah, this is mate in 5. But you have to follow the line very precisely. King takes. You have to go at f3. King g3. Bishop h4 is the only move. King takes g4 again. Queen. At this point there are 3 possibilities. Queen g5, queen at g2, or queen at f5. Queen g5 immediately also works. King takes f3 and queen at g4. But this also, yeah. So going back to the initial one, initial position, then what I was worried about was this, but I shouldn't have been worried because, yeah, queen h3 blocks. Oh, this is a very nice mate. Bishop at f3, and you just come in. Okay, that's really nice. That's why you can't take with the h pawn. So you have to take with the f pawn. Okay, now I was thinking just at g2, king takes g2. So king takes g2, obviously it's now straightforward because, okay, so bishop h3 stops the king running it anywhere interesting. And we now have the standard mate, you know, the queen and bishop mate. But he doesn't have to take that. He can go here, and now we don't have enough pawns in hand to continue the attack. So that's why it was important, after knight takes bishop, to go bishop at f3 at g2, takes. Yeah, and so what we saw in the thing, I have to somehow draw it out to take something. If he takes the bishop, it's queen there, check, king there. It's the same mate. Okay, but there are another 3 lines which needed to be added after knight takes f2. So click on the explanation already. Explanation. Mate in 6, slow mates won't be accepted. And it's from the game Master Tan against All You Need Is Left. Nope, that's the wrong one. Okay, how did that come up? Let's click on the right puzzle. What? Okay, it was just taking a second to load. So let's try again. See, this is not accepted. I think it should be accepted. But anyway, let's have a look at this. Takes. Draw the king out. So this is a draw and push idea. Queen there. And checkmate. And explanation. Note the safe and solid black king in the position of white's light squared bishop. This is the kind of thing you need to know as black when white leads with e4 and tries to create light square weaknesses. Also, bishop at f3 mates no matter how white responds. Don't take my word for it, check the analysis board. Oh, so if we're looking at other, yeah, the other blocks are worth looking at as well. Knight takes bishop. Okay, so why have I opened it up again? Okay, so knight takes bishop, pawn takes. Ah, got some lag. Wow. Knight takes bishop, pawn takes, bishop to f3. So he could defend with a knight or a bishop. If he defends with the bishop, we're just going to get the same construction. So bishop takes knight. If he takes the bishop again, we get the same construction. Yes, but we still can draw the king out with a pawn. So this time we don't have. Maybe this would be the most tricky, and then we have knight here. If you took the other way, king here and knight here would also be checkmate. So yeah, the only problem is the puzzle is flawed because it should have included the lines after knight takes f2, which are also mate in 6. But that requires 3 more lines. So knight takes f2, bishop takes, pawn here, bishop here, and then unfortunately there are three lines here which all work, so which makes things a bit more complicated. Because you can either go queen g5, king f3, and then there's a unique solution, queen at g4, so that's one line. Getting lag issues. The other line is queen at g2 blocks, and then queen g5 is the unique mate, so that's good. There's only one thing to worry about there. I'm just getting lag, so it just keeps on cutting back and forth. And then the fourth way of mating is queen at f5, which is no one's going to think of. King takes queen, and then queen g5. That's very pretty. That's very pretty. So the pawn cuts off the king from going here. This pawn cuts off the king from going here. So everything's cut. Queen f5, very pretty. Okay, so there would be 3 lines you have to add if to make the puzzle legit, which is a bit of a shame. But it's a definitely instructive puzzle to pick up extra material, but it needs fixing. Pick up extra material with check. Okay, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this very short stream and just a quick introduction to this site and basically. So the big news. So this is what also the purpose of this stream, to shut all this down, to introduce you to chessvariants.training. There are tags, there are definitions which will be introduced as well. And the big news is there's a Crazyhouse World Championship happening, 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship. You have to sign up by 15th of March in order to participate. Anyone can participate. There will be an elimination and then a knockout, a double elimination knockout. So go to the search on the forum on Lichess for it, and say you have to say I'm in to say if you want to participate. And the other thing is that in 90 minutes, just over 90 minutes, Yasser is going to introduce his S-chess, his invention, to Jan Lee on pychess.org. So pychess is this website where you can play all these variants. So in 90 minutes, just over 90 minutes, we're going to have Yasser against Jan Lee in S-chess. So I'll catch you both hopefully in the audience to Jan Lee's stream. Hope you have a good morning and see you around. And thanks for hopping in, Hercules, Marlonk, Gingerbread, Man, Crazy House, and I am Hypergod at the beginning. Bye guys.